Surprisingly, oil giant BP says that fast chargers are nearly as profitable as selling gas. And this is in the very early stages of EV adoption. Just imagine how much more profitable EV stations will be than gas once everyone has adopted an electric car. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. I'm coming to you here from Melbourne, Australia. It's an amazing day here in the electric car battery technology world. You know, 2022, what an amazing year it's turned out to be so far. It's only been, just over 2 weeks. And already some incredible stuff is going on in the industry. So, BP, I've got to love this news. The irony is brilliant. They're saying they're making nearly as much money from electric car charging as they do from gas stations, or as we call them here in Australia, petrol stations. Now, I'm not talking about an overall figure. I'm talking about per transaction, obviously. Now, Mark Kane from Inside EVs says this. I do have something to say about this, so just hang on a second. He says, thanks to the fast growth of the electric car market, the fast charging business finally generates more revenue. BP's head of customer and product, Emma Delaney, told Reuters that strong growing demand, including a 45% increase in Q3 2021 versus Q2 2021, has brought profit margins of fast chargers close to fuel pumps. If I think about a tank of fuel versus a fast charge, we are nearing a place where the business fundamentals on the fast charge are better than they are on the fuel. Very interesting to see. Now, if you haven't already seen my video talking about the battery swapping for electric scooters, which are the primary means of transportation across much of the developing world, third world, whatever you want to call it, then you should check that out to see just how profitable this battery swapping situation is. In other words, just how electric mobility is completely changing the world for hundreds and hundreds of millions of people. Now, in addition to that, I did make a video recently about Shell, right? They changed an old petrol gas station into an electric charging station in the middle of London. This is the kind of thing happening now. It's exciting to see. Now, I've got to say, I'm stoked to hear this news that fast chargers are becoming almost as profitable as fuel pumps. This is really a surprising result for me. I didn't expect this at this early stage in the transition to electric cars. And apparently it's a result of a few different factors, including higher power charges, multiple stalls per station, and a higher number of cars that also can accept higher power and have bigger batteries. What does this mean? Well, customers are buying more energy and they're getting that energy quicker, meaning more money changing hands. This improves the economy of a charging station. I think it's a good thing for the end user and for the seller of the energy. Now, with the increase in the number of charging stations, the average network cost per station is dropping. Now, Mark Kane says that once charging operators and investors note that the charging infrastructure is actually profitable and it's future-proof, which is pretty obvious, I think, we can expect a big rush in this area. Well, we're already seeing a big rush in this area. There's charging stations being built out in all manner of places or everywhere. I mean, check out my video about the Taco Bell charging stations being installed all over America. Now, the awesome thing is with these Taco Bell stations is that they're going to be used, the power is going to be generated from renewable energy, and the Taco Bell restaurants are going to get the advantage of having this excess energy they can use. In other words, they're going to be paying less for energy, be bringing in new customers, and of course, be providing people with renewable energy for their electric cars. It's brilliant. I'll put a link in the description below to that video. Now, apparently the charging business as a whole is not yet profitable for BP because currently in the expansion phase, it requires high investments. Now, the crazy thing is, imagine the kind of investments that hydrogen stations need. I mean, you're talking a factor of 1,000 more than an electric station. So I think that realistically, the actual build out phase is pretty affordable, especially in comparison to even a gas station. Now, according to the article, BP says it will remain that way until about 2025, when their profits will start to outweigh the investment costs. This is what BP said. The division is not expected to turn profitable until 2025, but on a margin basis. BP's fast charging points, which can replenish a battery within minutes, are nearing levels they see from filling up with petrol. BP is focused specifically on DC fast charging infrastructure rather than AC charging points, and they plan to have 70,000 points of various types from 2030. That's an increase of 59,000 from the 11,000 that they have today. This is what BP said. I like this strategy, right? We've made a choice to go after high speed charging, on the go charging, rather than slow lamppost charging, for example. Now, the interesting thing is here that BP chargers are actually cheaper than Ionity chargers. So clearly, even with that lower margin, because they're selling energy cheaper than some of their biggest competitors, they're still making a profit. Now, there's one big downside to BP's current charging network. That is that most of the network is only capable of 50 kilowatt charging, which is ancient, and they often have connection issues. So they need to upgrade these chargers to actually stay relevant and to compete in this network. Now, the interesting thing is here, I think we should consider this, right? Most gas companies that sell gas, petrol, they actually don't make a profit on the fuel itself. Where they make the profit is in food, drinks, coffees, Red Bulls, all those kinds of things. Now, the interesting thing is here that unless we see a build out of battery swapping networks like something like a Neo battery swapping car, then people will actually spend more time charging their vehicles at stations. So of course, the majority of people won't spend much time doing this at all because the majority of people just charge their vehicles at home. But obviously in cities, there's a lot of apartment blocks. A lot of these people will spend time charging their vehicles. They're going to spend more time. What does that mean? More revenue on things like drinks and food. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that when you have a petrol station or gas station, you've got to actually move gas from one place to another. I mean, it comes all the way from a mine somewhere, which is probably potentially tens of thousands of miles away. That's got to be taken to a refinery, and that fuel has to go from the refinery all the way to your gas station. That's a pretty long supply chain. With electricity though, once it's installed, it just flows through the wires like an automated process. Now, what I'm starting to see is more and more gas stations actually installing electric chargers at their gas stations, which is a good thing for consumers, and it's a good thing for profit margins for the gas station. So as far as I'm concerned, this is awesome news. And as a lot of you know, I'm very much an optimist when it comes to electric cars and electrification of the industry. And I see this as being a hugely important moment in history, a point in which we start to see gas stations convert into electric charging stations. And to be honest, I have to say, this excites me. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you use an electric station to charge your vehicle, or do you do it, or you're charging at home? Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you again on the next one. Bye-bye.